In this section, we're going to look at overriding the view that we added with our feature module for the blog. I'm going to exit out of the overlay here, and we're going to be editing this blog view. In order for our adjustments to be meaningful, we need to have a couple of blog posts first. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Content, and I'm going to go Add Content, and I'm going to add a blog entry. And we'll just do a couple of dummy pages here. You can go ahead and put in anything here. I'm just going to leave it at the defaults and click Save. Okay, and I'm going to add one more piece of content. I'm going to click Add Content, click Blog Entry, and then fill in the title and body again. And then I'm going to scroll down and click Save again. Okay, now let's go back to the blog. I'm just going to click Blog in the menu here. So we're going to change a couple aspects of this view. The first is we're going to change the title, and then we're going to change the number of items that display here to 1. And then we're going to enable Ajax for the pager that will now display, since not all of the items display on one page. So I'm going to jump back to our File Explorer, and I'm going to open up the fourth step, which is called Override Views Display Options. I'm going to copy all the code and paste it over the blogoverride.module file, replacing everything that's there, and save it. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom where we have the function blogoverride views pre-build. Now, views contains a lot of configuration options, and we're just demonstrating a few here. So we're using the same structure that we used for, if I scroll up, our blog override boxes box load alter. We're just doing a switch, but in this case, we're doing a switch on the view name, which is the machine name for a view. And in the case of blog view, we're going to make these modifications. So the first thing we're going to adjust is the title, and we're going to make it overridden blog title. Now you can see the structure of variables here is really complex, and a lot of times it's going to be a little bit ambiguous as to where you need to make the change inside of this set of variables, because there's a few different places where you'll see the particular parameter that you want to adjust. So you may need to do some experimentation. These items here should help point you in the right direction for a couple of the most common parameters to change, but again, beyond that, you just need to experiment. In our next example, we're actually going to modify the query that this view uses in order to pull together the content for the view. But when it comes to displaying that content, this is probably where you want to make your adjustment. So after we adjust the title, we're going to adjust the pager. Notice that the variable structure here is the same up until this point. We're in the default display, we're in the handler object and the options within that handler. And specifically in the pager, we're looking at the options and the number of items per page. So in these next lines, what we're going to do is enable Ajax for the pager or for any exposed filters, but only if the current display is page. Now here, we have some configuration options that apply to a particular view display, in this case default, but this change is more general. It applies to all views. So we need to specify that the particular display that's being adjusted right now through this views pre-build function will be one that will use Ajax, but any other displays will be set to whatever their default was. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back to the browser. And if we refresh this view, we'll see that our changes aren't applied. We need to go to Configuration and clear our caches. We'll go to Performance, and then clear all caches. And then let's exit out of the overlay, and the page will refresh, and we'll see our overridden blog title here. We'll see that we're only displaying one of our blog posts, and if we click one of these items, we'll see that the view is reloaded via Ajax. Now if we go back to the code, let's go ahead and set a breakpoint here in this function so we can look at this view variable. Now again, in order to get this to trigger, we'll need to clear our caches, so I'm going to go to Configuration, Performance. I'm going to make sure that my debugging session has started and click Clear All Caches. Okay, I'm going to jump back to my editor, and we have our yellow arrow, which means that we're stopped here. And we can now take a look at this view. I'm going to expand it. And you see as we scroll down that there's a lot going on here. But for now, let's just go ahead and navigate to this first parameter that we changed. So we're going to go to View, Display Default. So we're here in View, and we can expand Display. We have two displays, Default and Page. We'll expand Default. And then we're going to go to Handler, Options, Title. So I'm going to scroll down here within Default and go to Handler. And then within Handler, here's our options. And within options, we have our title if we scroll down right here. So the original was blog view, and we're modifying it to say overridden blog title. So adjusting these views parameters isn't for the faint of heart. It's not necessarily a simple task to find these items here. Again, this will help point you in the right direction for some of them, but with others, it's simply going to take some trial and error. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of the debugging session.